Hey guys, it's Shannon and Danny. I think a lot of you have heard by now that Jake unfortunately has decided to step away from the podcast for personal reasons. We're really bummed about it. We've had so many amazing laughs with him this past year, and he's definitely going to be missed.
It sucks. There's no way around it. It was a magical trio and dynamic, and he's going to be extremely missed. But to mitigate this a little bit, this episode, the next episode, this week's bonus episode, all still have Jake.
That's right.
And there's two more. There's
maybe
four
three.
more. There's a handful more of episodes that are just Jake and Shannon.
Yeah, we did some when Danny was out of town, and we got loosey-goosey, very silly. So we're excited for you to hear those. So you've still got a little bit more Jake left. And then it's just Shanny and Danny. Hi, everybody, and welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Shannon D, and I'm joined today by
Danny Vega
and
Jake Davis.
hello, gentlemen. They're very low energy for some reason.
Thanks for having us, Shannon. We're so
You're
excited to be
welcome.
here.
Thank you guys for having.
It's an honor and a privilege to be a part of this program.
Oh, he's now
I'm a bullfrog now.
Oh, he's a
I
bullfrog.
got turned into a bullfrog by a witch's curse.
I'm
And
just
what animal are you?
I'm just a quiet little meerkat here to be with you and look at you and enjoy your presence and insights.
Oh, that's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's like I kind of feel like Snow White with these little animals around me.
Yeah, I was hoping.
But I'm not going to give you a kiss and turn you
I
into
didn't
a
want
prince,
You're
okay?
putting that on me,
Is
and I
that
wasn't
Snow
going to
White?
ask for one.
No,
Yeah,
but he's a frog.
Mm.
Yeah,
But Snow White doesn't
didn't-
do that.
yeah,
That's
she doesn't.
Tatiana.
No,
Do all
when
those dwarves want to fuck her?
I'm sure of it. Especially
Wow,
Dopey.
It's a
Something's
little
going on
weird
with
that they
him.
played with that fire.
Yeah,
Right? Is
7
anybody
men,
else? I can't watch.
7
Yeah, that's
full-grown
sick.
men living with like a 16-year-old.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Unless they're not full grown, but they've got beards.
no,
except for
they're
Dopey.
full grown. Yeah, that's sick.
Because are they just supposed to be? They're dwarves.
They're dwarves. Yeah, Snow White and the Seven
dwarves.
Dwarves, right?
It says it right in the title.
I always took it to be like a Tolkien fantasy dwarf,
Yeah.
right? That was my understanding of it.
Yeah,
Right, like
oh,
not little people. And
No,
it's like fantasy.
No, it's like what are you saying? You're saying Tolkien, right? Like, as in
yeah,
J.R.R.
Yeah, like fantasy
Yeah.
material, dwarven people.
I'm
Right.
interested in that for me. I like that J.R.R. Tolkien. You think I
Oh,
could
yeah.
fly something like
You're
that?
gonna add a couple middle
Like
names.
DCC Vega, and that'll be Danny.
Well, what's your middle name?
It's Carlos. Danny Carlos Cat Vega. DCC Vega.
Oh yeah, I
Wait,
like that.
you like that?
That's good.
Yeah, why
I like
not?
that.
Yeah.
Campbell is your
Yep.
middle name.
Great
so he
middle
could be
name.
JCC Davis.
Ooh,
And
actually, I
could be
like that one better. That one's
Shannon
good.
Dee Lewis.
Ooh,
Dee.
Dee. That's
DD.
fine.
I could actually
Dee.
see you being a
You
DD.
can be a D.
Yeah.
Well, I sent you a meme one time that was Dexter and then like Dee Dee, remember?
Oh,
and she's always
yes.
torturing him, and I was like saying it was me and you.
Oh, wow.
I was like,
Yeah.
I told
Oh, you got to
Actually,
use that for some.
yeah,
memes.
all-
Yeah, it was good.
We
That's
just need to change
great.
Dexter's hair color, and it's you even have the glasses,
Yeah.
Okay. All right, now it's getting mean.
and you have
but-
that laboratory
No.
that no one's allowed into. You do weird
Yeah,
stuff. in
yeah,
there.
that's true.
His laboratory.
That's how I got turned into a bullfrog.
There we go. I have a little tale of I wanted to tell you guys I really cleaned my house, and that felt really good.
Yeah, we've seen the photos. It's I didn't even recognize it.
It really, I'm so much happier. I feel like I Marie Kondoed that shit. And let me say, I think clutter is the enemy. I love just looking at less stuff. It makes me
Yeah.
feel so calm. I've been sleeping better. And anyway, throughout the course of this, and I really cleaned everything. I cleaned the toilet and the bathroom, stuff that normal people do on a regular basis. But I waited 2 years to do it. And so it was a lot of work. But anyway, through this process, I actually got to, I've had this air purifier and I bought it in New York, and it's like, whatever, it was like $100 or something, but it's nice. It's like well branded and it looks very nice. And I was like, I've really had this air purifier a little bit. And right when I got it, you guys, when I would turn this air purifier on, it smelled so good. Like it smelled like being in a nice hotel. And I would like show people, they'd come over and I'd be like, you gotta, like, this air purifier really crushes it. And I was like, it's been 2 years and it wasn't doing the same thing. And so I opened the air purifier, and what do you think I saw?
Just dust on like
Nothing?
black.
Plastic. The filter was wrapped in plastic.
No.
what I was smelling was the circulating smell of plastic.
It's a good smell.
It was a great smell. I feel like they need to make it into a candle.
That's what Best Buy smells like. It's
Yeah.
plastic.
Yeah.
That's the Best Buy smell. When you walk in, it's all the plastic in there.
So I guess you didn't have to buy a new filter because
No, that was the best part. I was like, well, I feel like an idiot, but got me a brand new air filter here, folks.
I was going to make a joke that I wouldn't, and it's a joke. I do know that air purifiers do work, but if like a consumer report came out that informed us like, hey, literally every air purifier you've ever had is just a bad fan, I'd believe it. Just with how many scams are out there, I could buy that. It's like, yo, it's literally been doing nothing. It catches some lint, but that's it.
Yeah, well, we changed ours a few months ago, and it was like, woo, disgusting. Just like so much.
Yeah.
It was just black and linty.
Oh, wow.
And linty.
You know, one of my favorite moves, if you've ever, particularly at the chain Jiffy Lube, you know, whenever you go and get your oil change there, they'll almost always show you your air filter.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, this is your air filter right here. You want to get this switch? Almost every time they do that, it's nowhere near the point where you need to swap it out. And they just bank on it looking gross for you to think like, oh, yeah, we should do that. There's dirt on there. Jiffy Lube's a super crooked franchise. I still like it's still the easiest option to get your oil changed at, but like they will really try to
This
scam
sounds
you.
like the worst ad I've ever heard.
Jiffy Lube.
You just went back
We
and
suck,
forth.
but it's convenient.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, how does Jake actually feel, though?
I don't know.
You go?
No, I've gone to Jiffy Lube to get my oil changed.
He's like, I love those scammers, though. They're good at it. I admire it.
The only time I ever like this does not speak to my wherewithal or my intelligence, but one time I went to a Jiffy Lube and they like I let them change my oil and said like, yeah, I can. And they said, hey, do you want us to swap out your windshield wipers? And I did need new windshield wipers.
Okay.
Driving home I was in Arizona at the time and I was driving back to Arizona from California. Storm comes in, turn on my windshield wipers. They didn't fucking put on the new windshield wipers. They just took off the old ones.
Oh no! So you didn't have any.
It was
my God.
It was the only time I've gone back to a place to be like, you motherfuckers almost killed me. And I'm like, next time I needed my oil change, I was like, it's right by my house.
No, you went right
back
back.
to the
That's
Jiffy Lube.
hilarious.
What are you gonna do?
Hey,
They didn't charge me for the windshield wipers though. They didn't do that.
okay, that's reasonable. They cut you a
They
deal.
did almost kill me, so that $12 really evened it out.
Well, a deal's a deal. Speaking of deals, Shannon, I've been kind of wanting to clarify this.
Okay.
Your boyfriend, Max.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is he the creator of the whole? He had this amazing festival. I was so blown away.
Yes.
What is his role exactly?
So it was the Abbot Kinney Festival, and you guys probably heard my ad that Danny graciously let me put in to advertise. And Abbot Kinney Festival Association is a grant-making nonprofit. And they've been doing it, I'm probably going to butcher it, but I think like 30-something years the fest has been going on.
Okay.
And in 2016, Max joined the board that was like helping throw it.
Got it.
And then I'm pretty sure, I could be getting this wrong, but I think like the chairman stepped down and then nobody was like wanting to step up. So then Max was like, okay, I'll do it. So in 2019, he became the chairman. And then obviously the pandemic happened. And then this was the first year that they were able to get its feet back up on the ground. But it's Abbot Kinney Boulevard is the main street in Venice. And
it's a hell of a street.
Great boulevard.
It's the best. It's my favorite street in the world.
Tip
It's like
top.
8 blocks maybe or something like that. You think it's more?
I don't know. I know it's a lot bigger than I thought. I mean, I guess I just thought, so when you were like, yeah, my boyfriend produces this like festival thing, I was like, oh, okay, I'll go to your little festival. And like, no, and not that I expected it to be like, a hula hoop and a hot dog, but like,
Sure, okay.
but like, it was Coachella, this fucking festival.
Big fest.
Like,
Yeah,
it's huge. Just to walk from end to end of Abbot Kinney, I mean, it must have taken at least 20, 25 minutes. And I was like, hey, guys, we're going to find my friend Shannon here.
And I had to keep running back and forth
you were
from
all over.
each spot, like, because I was doing merchandising. I was managing the merch booths.
Yeah.
There was one at the end and one at the other end. And so I had to walk back and forth so many times. I think I got like 18,000 steps in that day. Max got
Wild.
36.
I believe it.
He'd be
It's-
walking.
He'd be walking all because a lot of my friends came and they were always just like, "Oh, I saw Max. He was like jetting off somewhere."
And you can
in
spot
another-
him in a crowd
Oh,
too.
yeah.
He's head and shoulders. He's got that going.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
he's tall. He's not that tall. How tall is he?
6'5".
Yeah,
Is he 6'5"?
Yeah,
Oh,
he's in the
wow.
platinum club.
Yep. I don't know what that is, but he's there.
He's definitely not as wide as Jake, though. Not right.
We're pretty rough
Yeah.
proportions. We go to the
Rough.
same tailor.
Same Taylor.
I have no idea what's real anymore. Anyway,
Yeah,
what a
so-
fest!
Yeah, it was so fun. So it was like 300 vendors. So that's like
The booze outside,
booths,
plus all the stores are
plus
still
all the
open.
stores
I
are
mean, it was
open.
crazy.
Yeah, and then there was music. There was
Yep.
stages. There was
Yep.
3 beer gardens.
Wow.
And yeah, it was great. A lot of people showed up, and this was my first time working it. All the other years I would either just go, or there was a period of time where I was working at a cafe on Abercrombie, so I would be like
Oh, that's
working it
cute.
in that way.
Yeah.
And but yeah, it was really nice, like seeing the behind the scenes and like kind of getting to work with Max, like because we
Yeah.
were like calling each other all day because like he was who I'd have to go to if there was issues with the merch and stuff like that. So it was kind of fun. Like I felt like it was a nice little bonding moment, and he was like he was really happy to have me there as like support and like emotional support and all of that. So it was a great experience, and I did a lot of prep beforehand and putting up posters and all that stuff. And yeah, a lot of my friends came. It was really fun. And then at the end of the night, Max though, so there was like these intense golf carts that had like, you know, truck beds on the back of them.
Yeah.
And so he and this guy who's the manager of the Brig, which is a really famous bar there, were like putting some stuff away. And Max slammed the shit out of the guy's fingers in the golf cart,
Oh, that's so
like,
painful.
truck bed door, and he broke his fingers.
No.
Isn't that terrible?
Oh,
How did he
Max
rebound?
feels so bad. I
Felt
mean,
so
he actually
bad.
said that he was like pretty okay about it, but his wife was there and was like, he's not gonna be able to work now because he manages a bar. So Max like feels terrible. I was like, oh, I don't know.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
At the very end of the night too, like the last thing they were unloading.
Ah,
That's rough.
God.
I know.
One I hadn't told you about this, but one year I was working for a beer company that was the official sponsor of the Venice Reggae Festival, which for some reason was happening at the exact same time as
Oh,
the
no.
Abercrombie Festival.
Oh no.
Like right next to it. And the energy of everybody working at this festival was like, yeah, that Abercrombie Festival next door is sellout. This is real Venice. And it's like
God.
a pittance of a festival compared to the Abercrombie
Like a
Festival.
hot dog and a hula?
It's a hot dog and a hula. and I'm just sitting there doing my thing, like handing out beers to people. And like the more people talk about it,
so mad.
the more I'm just like, I feel like we might just be second fiddle gang and we can be okay. This is specifically the reggae festival.
Yeah.
Like
Specific.
it's just the general festival over there.
Right.
They're not
Well,
as niche as us.
And also the Abercrombie Festival, the money goes back into the community because it's a nonprofit. So it's like, okay, well, that is Venice. They're literally helping Venice. You're just being like,
they were cranky. They were
Yeah.
cranky. And like I did ask the question a couple of times, like, what's the money for the reggae festival go into? And it's just like
Exactly.
art, man.
Yeah.
Art.
I guess honestly that is more Venice though, really.
It's-
that
true.
that vibe.
It was
yeah.
just this offshoot. It was one of the, the small streets off Abercrombie that lead to like the boardwalk.
Yeah.
It was just one of those streets.
oh, like right next to it.
yeah.
too.
So it was right there. And it would definitely have that vibe of like, seems like they're having a pretty good time over there. No, they're sellouts. It's
Oh.
corporate over there.
Oh,
This
God.
is real Venice. And
God.
it's just like 3 reggae bands and 1 beer company just doing their best.
Aw, they should have just joined in.
Well, I had a blast, and you also got to meet Joanna, who was on a previous episode,
Johanna,
which
as
was
I
really,
call her.
yeah, that was very fun.
She's great.
she great.
I love her.
Been friends forever. So Joanna, I have never heard her go on about something like this. Like she's from Venezuela, and so she always talks about that. Obviously, that's like a big part of her identity. She brought up this place called Justa, literally like once every 20 minutes. So after we ate at the fast,
she overhyped it, I'm sure.
walked the fast, she's like, do you guys want to go to Justa? And I was like, I mean, after you brought it up so much, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So we go to Justa, and it was literally it's a sandwich. It's a tomato sandwich, and then you add prosciutto and burrata to it, and then it was like a strawberry shortcake. Okay, that's all we got. One sandwich, one dessert, 2 different things. And you know what? It was amazing. It was out of this fucking world. It was $50.
Yeah.
And I was like, Joanna, this is crooked.
For a tomato sandwich. For a
I mean,
Harriet the
we
Spy
did add
special.
prosciutto and burrata, but like it was really like, it wasn't like we split it, and it was like if I had been going to eat, like I would still be, I had just eaten at the fest, so I wasn't really that hungry, but like it was
because
like,
when I saw you guys were like stuffed to the brim. At least that's what she was talking about. She's like, we're so full.
oh no, she was insane. She ordered, and it was like kind of hot, and she ordered a huge quesadilla, and I was like, you're fucking crazy.
Oh, you're saying
bro.
the weather was kind of hot.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you were
Her
talking
down in
about
that
her
quesadilla got him
chomping
going.
down
Oh,
on
it's so
quesadilla.
hot, bro. I love watching a girl eat cheese. No, but like I got a lobster roll, so I'd like it's kind of light. But anyway, yeah, I was just like, God, this is so LA.
I barely ate that day at all. Like
Really?
all of the food
Oh, when
trucks
you're
looked so
busy and
good.
running around, you don't
Get
think
that.
about it.
And I did have like a matcha latte with like mushrooms in it, and I was like geeking out.
Oh, boy.
Like I also
The
couldn't
mushrooms.
focus at all. Like anytime I sat down with my friends at one point, I'm literally just like looking around, like, you know, when you feel like you're at work and you have to be on, like, I don't know. I felt like I was like coked out or something. I was on another level. Remember when I saw you? I was like, I got.
Yeah, no, you were.
Remember,
Well, actually, it was pretty
insane.
funny. Like, all right, so then I was with Joanna, her husband, and our friend Sam, and then her
Oh
husband.
wait, that was her husband?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that the other two were a couple.
No.
Wait,
Boy.
why is that so crazy?
I don't know. That's just funny to think about.
Okay.
Anyway, so it was really funny. So when we first saw Shannon, she was like, "Sorry, I can't go. Gotta go." Like just
Great Shannon
barely
impression.
acknowledged
Nailed
us.
it.
And then Daniel just goes, "She seems friendly." Fucking really funny. But it was interesting. So I was telling Joanna about the clean demon, that I was possessed by, that made me clean my house. And so I went home, whatever. And then she texted me like 4 hours later. She's like, "I got your fucking demon, so be careful." She said she cleaned the shit out of her house.
What's the
did?
name of the clean demon?
I don't know. You're the namer.
I think it's Windex. That's a good name for a demon.
Windexubus.
Windexubus.
Oh shit. Oh wow.
Shall give you the gift of perfect cleanliness.
I already cleaned. You
know
got
who
me.
You sound like the
Scar.
Aladdin.
Oh, you're on Aladdin.
Oh, the lion
in the beginning.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that's actually, I'm doing Dr. Claw from Inspector Gadget, who is Peter Cullen, who's also the voice of Optimus Prime, and I think might be the voice of that
that's
lion.
perfect. You nailed it.
That's so low.
Next time.
It reminds me of the piano key that's so low. You're like, that's not for music. Why did you even put that on here?
That's just for dramatic pause.
Yeah.
When someone reveals something.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. This is actually great. We've got a bit of a listener submission episode for all you all. And you can submit listener submissions on our subreddit, reddit.com/r/AITA pod. So we'd love that. Also, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. Yeah, Shannon has actually been doing great work. She's making me put images and shit in the YouTube videos. So we're trying
gonna
to
start doing that.
soup them up a
When
little
we're
bit.
talking about certain things, certain little topics. It'd be nice to have a little image for you.
Yeah, we do visual bits a fair amount.
I know.
Yeah.
So
You guys missed a
YouTube.
bonus episode where we just talked about Shannon's hat for like 25
It's
minutes.
an interesting hat.
God, yeah.
But we did get some criticism from the critics. I have been survived several cancellations, and soon it'll happen for you guys.
Oh no.
Yeah, no,
Well, I
I'm
kind of did with the airplane thing, right?
not really.
Yeah,
that was lighthearted.
you're always going to be safe.
No, people
Shannon.
love you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's sickening. So you rough appointment 8241 wrote on our subreddit that it was a miss, and I got a few DMs that we missed on Toothgate. What was Toothgate? a father's son goes to a school. The son is, oh, my tooth is loose. And then the nurse yanked it.
Yeah.
And then he threw a shit fit.
Oh, he threw a fit.
Apparently, a shit fit might be due. I guess this is what this person wrote. They wrote, I have to respectfully disagree with the YTA verdict on the school nurse pulling out the kid's teeth, because we said the father was the asshole. Yeah. He says, I would be furious if it was my kid. There's no valid reason to pull it out. Kids swallow teeth all the time. And the general advice these days is not to pull out teeth unless they're very loose, because you can damage the gums and cause infection. And then he sent a link here to a website. So
okay, interesting.
It is an Australia website, so maybe grain of salt there, but
oh
we'll
my
take
God,
it.
stop.
We'll take it.
Don't yank teeth.
Stop.
Toothgate.
Nar.
Toothgate closed.
Toothgate.
Nar, my teeth.
Yeah, I mean,
that's all the link
why you
says.
shouldn't pull out your teeth.
Because you can yank out, because I guess the baby teeth help guide in the mama teeth, or whatever they're called, adult teeth.
Oh, so then it then ends up fucking up your
Teeth
dental
prime.
work later in life.
Or
Oh,
fucks up.
okay,
Yeah,
all right.
exactly. So
We hear you out there.
yeah, so we all make mistakes, and I don't profess to be a tooth expert. I mean, it was news to me that they're not bones, the motherfuckers. Crazy.
So I thought it was news to Shannon.
It was news
you
to
were
me.
saying teeth aren't bones.
Well, he must have learned.
I had
that.
learned it,
Recently.
but I think they kind of are similar to bones.
I feel like it's ticky-tack to say that they're not bone adjacent.
Yeah,
They're part of skeletons. I said it on the
Yeah.
episode.
That's fair.
Exactly.
That's fair. I mean, I would think it'd be a good bit if I found a bunch of teeth. I'd be like, I found some bones. Just kidding, they're teeth. Not creepy at all. I found teeth in your house.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something like, is a tomato a vegetable or a fruit? And at this point, who
Right.
cares?
And it's like, come on. All right, technically it's a fruit, but it's a vegetable.
Yeah, I hate when people are pedantic about that. I actually got in a bit of a work spat about when people say, people will say, it's the phrase is for intents and purposes.
Yeah.
But then sometimes people will say for intensive purposes.
And both work.
Right.
And exactly, both work.
Both work.
And pedantic people go, it's actually for intensive purposes. I'm like, actually what they said kind of still works. So like, we don't need to, this doesn't need to be your personality. Like I have a shitty personality and that's even worse than me. Trust me on this.
My favorite response I've ever heard to is a hot dog a sandwich was somebody just cutting the conversation off immediately and saying, doesn't matter. Can we move on? Let's not do it.
They came in with, let's not.
It's just like, I've been a part of this too many times.
Let's not
I'm
do
not
it.
gonna be a part of it again. It's a fucking hot dog. It's a sandwich. It's not. It's a fucking taco. Let's call it a taco. Let's move on.
Yeah, I would say it's more like a taco than a
I'm
sandwich.
not fucking doing this, Shannon. We're not fucking doing this. We're not. Were you in the act out? Because I was in the act out, and we're not doing this. That just reeks of like that guy just did it like at a party that it just went like 2 hours, and somebody got thrown in a pool over it.
I'm not going back.
But like he's so intense that he's not doing it. He's actually doing it.
It's
Yeah,
actually
exactly.
spurring the
Yeah.
conversation
Yeah.
on. Well, man, now that you're bringing a lot of fire to this. I do have some opinions on it. Ah, damn it.
All right. Well, that was our one little bit of feedback. Otherwise, everyone here says we've been perfect forever and always will be.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
interesting.
Perfect
Thanks,
babies with great
guys.
teeth and hair, and our shoulders are nice too.
Exactly.
Ooh. Our second story of the day. Oh, this is one of the great works of AITA here. This listener really brought it. Oh, wait, no, is that the third one? Just kidding. AITA for setting my boyfriend up to cheat. Woo! Wow.
Uh-oh, love that one.
That's like the Picasso of AITA.
It's beautiful.
But first, folks, today's show is sponsored by BetterHelp. And sometimes in life, your racing thoughts are messing with you, making you anxious, keeping you from sleep, keeping you from enjoying the present moment. And why is that? Well, you need to dig in and find out. You need to process your emotions. You know, this is a key thing I've stressed. You must process. One tool you can use to start the processing is therapy. Now, BetterHelp is a service that really is therapy that's very convenient. That's what I like about BetterHelp. And it's convenient, it's flexible, you can schedule it how you want. You take a questionnaire, match with a licensed therapist, and this is what I love, you can switch therapists, and I actually strongly recommend you do that. You need to find the right person for you. You need to open up, figure out what is causing your brain to ruminate on these things over and over. This is something I've had to deal with literally dozens of times, and it's key that you do it. And therapy helps you do it. Get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com betterhelp.com/AITA pod today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/AITA pod. AITA for being suspicious of my fiance and invading her privacy.
Ooh.
I, 23M, and fiance, 22F, are getting married early next year. However, I can't truly say that I trust her. In 2019, we took a relationship break between graduating high school and starting college. After we resumed dating that fall, I learned she lost her virginity to one of our mutual friends from high school. In 2020, we were back together and moved back to our hometown. Take that again. In 2020, we were back together and moved back to our hometown. One of her close friends and I spoke, and she said my GF was constantly hooking up with guys the entire time, even showing screenshots from her phone. My GF had told me they were just her friends, so I suspected nothing. After confronting her about this all the following day, we had the biggest argument of our entire relationship. Me, being the people pleaser I am, stayed with her, even though she denied every single accusation. I knew she was lying, but she's not the type of person to admit to any of her faults. Months later, we got engaged and eventually bought a house together earlier this year. Our wedding is in a little under half a year, and I have a feeling that something is wrong again. She has a new male friend at work, and she's texting constantly. I also came across a condom wrapper in our car. She says it's ours, but I don't remember what it would even be doing there because I usually eat condoms afterward. What? I added that. That wasn't in it. We were on a vacation and she was glued to her phone typing. Every time I asked, she'd say it was a coworker or a friend. I asked her if she wanted to go to an event in our town. She said she didn't want to go, but on the day of the event, she texted saying she was going with the same coworker she's been constantly talking to after work.
Huh.
That night, after he dropped her back off home at 11, while in bed, she was texting him. I glanced over and was looking at their convo to get a gauge of something that would put my mind to rest. She noticed and called me an asshole for not respecting her privacy, and another argument happened. Every time we discuss this, she gets defensive and tells me I'm insecure and paranoid. As I'm typing this, I wonder, am I the asshole or could I be potentially paranoid? Do I owe her an apology, AITA?
Honey.
We finally got Jake to drop a honey.
If you're listening to this audio, I want you to go to the YouTube and I want you to look me in the eyes right now, but you didn't need to look. You know what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean,
wait, what's the YouTube link? Because I don't ever look at the description. So
now that you mention it, I wish you didn't banter so much. We shouldn't be making fun of this guy.
It's a poor person.
Hey, this sucks. This sucks, man. This has happened to me, not to the extent that you're experiencing it. But fuck, dude, you didn't need to look. Like, this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, I was like on her side in the beginning of the post because it's like
she just hooked up during a break.
Hooked up during their break.
Oh,
that's legal.
That's clean.
That's legal.
Fine. That's why they call it a break.
I was like, I don't understand like why you're upset, and also fuck her friend for like ratting on her. Like that's so messed up to you. She ratted on her friend.
Well,
well,
no, but I think it gets a little confusing because what happened was in 2020, they got back together.
And she was saying that she was constantly hooking up with guys the entire time, meaning they were on a break. Right?
Oh, I don't think so. I edited it a little bit. I think the meaning was that they were cheating. She was cheating.
Oh, that she was cheating.
Yes, that's why the girlfriend said they were just friends and he suspected nothing. He confronts her.
Okay.
They have the biggest argument. Right.
Oh, and then
maybe it was
stays with her.
To be fair, and like slightly to defend her, maybe it was a little gray area. Like we're moving back together. We're going to be in the same town. Are we really going to? Whatever.
Ross and Rachel treaded this territory quite well for us in the Shakespearean play Friends.
Yeah, which Team Rachel all the way on that one.
Interesting. Okay. But yeah, I guess I will say, OP, I think that this is something that gets bandied about and people want to sing it like it's a good song and it's not. Me being the people pleaser I am, you're telling on yourself. People who identify as people pleasers, like you're fucking yourself. That's what that means. You're giving more than others can give back. And it is a toxic interpersonal style. It really is. So you're not doing yourself any favors. I understand it. It's a dynamic that I fall into as well in certain respects, but like that doesn't make me more on your side, but at least you're like showing awareness by saying that, but just don't think it makes you look good, because it doesn't.
Yeah. I mean, and here I want to bring up too, like, I don't think, look, you glanced over at the phone to try to get a gauge of something that can put your mind at ease, right? I don't think that that's necessarily what anyone's looking for when they snoop. You're never looking for confirmation that you don't need to worry. You're looking for confirmation that you do need to worry. That's why you're looking. I don't think I've never felt a compulsion to look at a partner's phone. I've never done that. And I have been cheated on before, but I've always subscribed to the idea that once you're looking, you're opening up an entirely new can of worms. The issues are going to be present there with or without your concrete knowledge, without hard evidence.
Mm-hmm.
You know there are problems there. And that's what I meant by the start of this. I didn't mean to be cryptic, but you didn't need to look, because she's getting dropped off at 11 p.m. by an event that you were asking her to go with you to. And instead she stood you up for this male coworker.
I mean, she's sending you direct messages, OP. You're just choosing to miss them because you are a people pleaser. And I'm not saying you're the bad guy. I'm just saying you're putting up with someone who's walking all over you. That's what I'm pointing out.
And this is an old play. I hate this play. I think less of anyone who uses it, but she's being so shitty so that you dump her and she doesn't have to dump you.
Maybe.
Or she's just trying to have her cake and eat it too.
Yeah, she might enjoy what she's got. She might enjoy playing. I mean, some people.
I don't think she enjoys what she's got. She
gaslighting,
seems miserable.
What? Really?
I don't know
think
about
she's having
that.
If she is spending all of her time with her partner on her phone, texting somebody else, she's not happy. She doesn't want to be in this, and she's treating you like garbage so that you dump her and she doesn't have to take the leap and do it herself.
It's very possible. I mean, I think some people enjoy being toxic motherfuckers.
That's true.
I think so too.
It's kind of fun. You got a lot of attention at your beck and call.
Like she's probably having this brand new relationship energy, like flirting her ass off, loving this attention, and you don't have to take it that seriously because you have a man, like you have somebody that's here, so you can be like just saying whatever you want, and like the stakes are lower.
Yeah,
and because she's got somebody, like she doesn't need to be. Is he texting me back? I'm worried. Does he like me? It's just like full on, just
grossing out the whole,
with your coworker.
It's like a really sinister security blanket. Yeah, so I think we all see pretty much eye to eye on this bad boy.
Yeah,
or bad girl.
What are your thoughts on going through phones?
I guess I don't know if Jake, this is exactly what you're saying, but I just feel like I ain't need to do it. I don't need to audit you. Anytime you're litigating, anytime you're doing something that's like a formal bureaucratic process, your relationship is in so much trouble. Like, I don't need hard evidence. If like we can't, I mean, maybe I cut it because maybe I over cleaned this thing, but there was another thing where she's not someone who admits she's wrong.
Yeah,
did I delete that part?
We did say that. No.
Oh, okay. That to me already is like, good luck having a relationship with that individual, because how are you ever going to grow and move forward when they won't admit they made a mistake?
She's like a gaslighter too. She's making him feel crazy.
They have to, if you can't.
And that's why he's like, should I apologize? No, honey.
No, you don't. And I've said this before too. I recommend never snoop. Never, just don't do it. It's a good policy, but it is just sort of the social norm where if you snoop and find the hard evidence, no crime. If you snoop and there is no evidence, crime.
I was listening back to one of our episodes and you had said something like that. And I find that interesting because it's like, I don't know. I find that concept kind of interesting that it's like because then if you find something, it's not a crime, but if you don't find something, it is.
Yeah.
But in both cases, like you are snooping, but I guess in the one, it's like you had a reason to.
It's just a weird social construct that everybody sort of passively accepted as, oh, well, you were doing something wrong. You were the one
that did it worse.
Yeah.
Well, but usually it's you smell what's cooking. That's how I usually phrase it.
Dwayne Johnson wrote a whole discourse about that.
Is that his phrase?
Do you smell what the Rock is cooking? Nobody really knows what that was or meant, but
yeah, I mean, I just feel like, if it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, then it's probably chronic infidelity. Like, you usually figure it out. Like,
yeah, we've got to. I don't know if this was the top comment or what, but it's YTA because you invaded her privacy. I don't blame you for feeling the way you do, but spying on your girlfriend isn't the way to handle it. I don't know. If you smell something, it's kind of hard not to be like, you're going to the fair with this dude of some event, and now you're like texting him like under the covers, all like with probably a fucking smirk on her face. Like, yeah, I would be looking over my shoulder too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, I just don't. I think what you learn is that you don't need to look at anybody's phone, and you don't need to have a court case, because if you can't have a good conversation, then the answer is get the fuck out. Like,
if you can't ask for validation and confirmation that things are healthy and there's nothing that you need to work on without your partner responding with like, you piece of shit, then like, why do you need to look at the phone? It's done. This is bad.
It's hard. I mean, they are young. It's hard.
Right. And I think like maybe the next conversation that you have with her potentially should be like, look, I don't know what is going on, but whatever it is, I'm uncomfortable with it. And so you're telling me you're not cheating on me, but you're spending time with this man. I don't like it. And so I don't want it to happen anymore. That's a boundary that I'm putting up. I think that that's fair.
Yeah, I'm with Shannon, particularly the concert.
Well, what would it be called?
That's a rule or a standard.
I know, but like,
I think a standard. I think after the concert or the event situation, I think that standard's really fair because
that's like she's going on a goddamn date with the guy.
She's going on a date
like,
that you invited her on.
I'm for the rule. I was just being pedantic. I was being annoying.
Oh, okay.
I was being
tomatoes are fruit.
Intended purposes.
Well, no, I'm glad you did say that, because I was even thinking like, oh, this does sound like maybe it's controlling, but like I think it's fair to like ask your committed partner not to go on a date.
You wouldn't shoot your gun off in the kitchen for fun. It's very loud. Why are you trying to control me, damn it?
The thing is, I don't know that that's how this plays out, because like this is so far gone. Because like, here's the thing. You shouldn't be having to say that. Right. Like it's kind of ridiculous.
Not to talk about The Office again, but that's what Michael was like to Jan. He was like, you cheated on me when I specifically asked you not to.
I feel like, what you need to say is like, I feel like I can't trust you. I feel like I don't know what you're doing on your phone. You don't seem available to me. Like all of the usual conflict rules apply. And that's the other dangerous thing about throwing rules at people. It's like, you kind of have to just stick to your own things. Like it is more of a reasonable expectation to be like, yeah, I kind of expect like if we go on vacation for you to not spend the whole time on your phone and actually engage with me. I think that's pretty reasonable. I think we're all lined up here though. AITA for being suspicious of my fiance and invading her privacy. I think it's an NTA, and whopping she is.
Yeah. Sorry, bud.
Good luck, bro. Guys, please rate, review, subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. Over 180 bonus episodes. Submit feedback, submit situations on our subreddit, reddit.com/r/AITA pod. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts. Shannon's killing it. We love to see it.
And listen on Spotify.
There we go.
AITA for setting my boyfriend up to cheat. I, 24F, was in a relationship with a 28M. We'd had issues with infidelity, like admitting to hitting on women at bars, communicating with exes, buying content on OnlyFans after I had set that boundary, etc. These were small issues, but they tested my trust and told me that I was not the only woman on his mind. While I'm aware it's my responsibility to leave under these circumstances, I felt like I needed an actual event to transpire that was big enough that I could emotionally detach from him. I was very much in love with him and desperately wanted to prove to myself whether or not he respected and cared for me the same. So I made the event. One night, my boyfriend was going out with his friends to basically a more risque version of Hooters. They're regulars and always sit in the back. I called the host stand and had them set up a sting with me. This was a boring weeknight for the bar, so they were eager for some excitement.
Thank God, something.
Yeah.
I described my boyfriend and his attire and offered to Venmo $20 if someone hit on him. The girls asked what his type was and quickly found a server who matched, Sarah. They put me on hold while she did the deed, and when she came back on the phone, she quickly apologized and told me he did exchange numbers with her. I Venmo'd Sarah and also got her number for the Venmo verification. I ghosted my boyfriend for the rest of the night, and he returned around midnight. He said he was surprised I was still up. I asked if he had a good time, and he replied, yes. I then asked if he had done anything stupid, and he rolled his eyes and started his usual monologue, a series of no, accusing me of being crazy, telling me I'm too jealous, etc. I didn't even talk to a single female, he said. And I said, oh, not even Sarah, last name at 888-888-888-888.
Really? That's her number? That's
I was
crazy.
going to say it was really classless of you to include her number in this.
I asked, relaying her exact name and full number. His face went white and he started stuttering over his words. I got up to start packing my things, and after his initial shock died down, he started yelling that I was an asshole for setting him up to cheat. I told him that it didn't matter because he didn't know I had set it up and he should be loyal regardless of who approaches him. After several weeks of desperate calls and texts from him, I kind of feel like I did something wrong. I did get my emotional detachment, and I'm comfortable with the relationship ending now. But I don't necessarily like how I went about it. It feels like I exploited him and someone else for my own emotional stability and confidence that should have been there in the first place. AITA?
Have y'all ever, this seems to be a theme now at this point, but have y'all ever sought confirmation like this in a relationship? Just like you kind of already know what's going down, but you need something to push you over the line and be done with it.
I mean, I feel like it's kind of darker in a certain way, but I was in a relationship where like every time we had a conflict, I was told that I was like wrong and I didn't have my facts straight. So then every time we had conflicts, I started writing that shit down, and I had fucking records, and I was like, nah, you done this before. I wrote it down. I mean, I didn't bring it up in a conflict with her, but I was like, no, just so we're clear, we've had an exact thing like this where I was told that my memory was wrong and that I didn't remember that right. And I'm like, no, here it is right here.
In
It did
a
happen
morbid
before.
way, I think that's kind of clean. It's maybe not the most
Yeah,
constructive
I thought
way,
of
but you're
doing
directly
that.
addressing a continuing issue in the relationship.
Again, sorry, not with her. That was for my own sense of reality, because I was
okay.
like, wow, maybe I am a fucking crazy idiot. I mean, I know I'm a crazy idiot. Maybe I'm misremembering this. I don't know. And so once you start
If
writing
it was
these
just
down,
for your reference, then I think that's very clean.
people did tell me, they were like, the fact that you would even have such a document is a very bad prognosis for your relationship.
It's upsetting.
Yeah, I've thought of doing that in the past for sure.
I'm
Definitely.
cursed with, and I know this sounds egotistical, but it's something that it's driven my family crazy since I was a kid. I'm very good at remembering how conversations went. And it's not, I'm not saying it's perfect, but I'm better than your average horse at remembering how many clops somebody went with their hoof. That was a weird way to phrase that.
Interesting.
But I the times where I have been able to keep receipts on things, it's crazy how good I've been at like, yeah, I remember this, you were wearing this shirt, it was kind of cloudy outside, and you said we were going to the zoo today, that kind of stuff. But it's, yeah, it sucks when like, and I don't try to wield that over people, and I still am always open to the idea of like, I don't have any proof that that's how I remember it, but more often than not, I remember things pretty well. But all that being said, like this is technically entrapment. I don't think it's necessarily wrong though, because once again, you found what you were looking for. So did you do anything wrong?
Yeah, true. There was a radio station by us growing up, and they played this game called War of the Roses.
I've literally been on it.
You have?
Yeah.
Wait, someone set you up for it?
No, I did it. I was one of the guys. Oh, God. Whatever. I think I can say it.
Okay. Wait,
So
should I set up the premise first? of
Yeah,
what
set it
is?
up.
And okay, so you know, most of the time it was a woman would call into the radio station,
Right.
and then she would give her partner's number to them, and they would call them and say, you just won like being able to give a dozen roses to
Right.
somebody.
Oh, I've heard of this. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
they say, who do you want to give them to? Like they'll send it to their work or their home or whatever.
Right.
And
Right.
and then almost like every single time it was like they
Every
said someone else.
single time it's someone else. It's almost like it's fake.
It's fake, yeah.
And I was one of the guys, and they just
like
give you
the
like
host.
no, I was like the guy.
You were the guy.
Yeah, they'll be like, be like, they usually make you like a shitty guy. They'll be like a Brooklyn guy who's like
okay,
angry.
so it really.
Babe, I didn't mean to. Like
I see.
babe, she saved me my parking spot. Like it's nothing to me.
Oh, that's such a bummer.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's not a bummer because maybe the men are better than we think they are.
Everything
in the world,
is
but-
professional wrestling.
Yeah.
Everything's a work.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of New York comedians are getting paid $40 to lie to everybody. So
Hey, $40 is $40
for 15 minutes of work, it's not bad.
Get me in on that racket.
Well, also there's a lot of like TikTokers that do this too. Like they prank. Women will be like, do this to my boyfriend, and it's not a roses thing, but it'll be like, get him to cheat, basically.
TikTok has a really loose like terminology with the word prank.
Yeah,
it's like, this is called the hit somebody in the ankle with a ball-peen hammer prank.
Right. And they're like, I feel like a lot of TikTok stuff is so fake. It makes me cringe how ridiculous it is. But anyway, so I think OP though, OP, you're kind of circling on, first of all, let me just call you out here as I called Shannon out. That's why it was on my mind, you know, saying you don't want your partner to buy content on OnlyFans. That's not a boundary. That ain't a boundary. That's a rule. It's a standard. Boundaries are how you let other people treat you. That doesn't directly affect you. Okay. If you said, I don't want you to look at OnlyFans directly in front of me, that would be a boundary. That's fair.
And actually, like, I feel like it's not wrong to have rules in your relationship, right?
No, it's not wrong. No, of course not. You're allowed to have whatever rules and standards you want.
That you like,
but I
guess it's like if it's not agreed upon and it's like, then it becomes controlling.
Violating a rule is, you know, that's going to be something that's processed, but violating a boundary, I think, is a lot more significant. You know, that's like you're fucking with someone. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
because how they're treating you.
Exactly.
Right? Okay,
exactly. And like, you've got to think about what are these rules? Like, what are the purpose? What are you trying to do? And I think OP, like, I'm not going to try to come at you too hard, but I don't like what you're doing here on an emotional level. I think you don't like it either. I think that's a great indicator, because what are you asking? You're saying, I feel like I should have had the emotional stability and confidence. That should have been there in the first place. You betcha. Now, I don't really, I'm not going to like hard ding you for this. This is like a pretty innocent thing. You know, I think, what was your thing? A horse is you've got the memory of a horse here. You've got the prediction.
I know how many times you clopped your hooves.
You know how many times the hooves are being clopped here. The boyfriend did exactly whatever. It wasn't that big of a deal. So you don't need to like, you know, feel like you're going to hell over this. But like this is what I really didn't like, OP. It was that you said, I felt like I needed an actual event to transpire that was big enough that I could emotionally detach from him. I'm really worried about that, because to me, that says that you got something missing inside of you. And that is actually going to, that lack of wholeness, that lack of confidence, that lack of just knowing what it is. And you might be young. Are you young? You are 24F. So that's actually pretty normal. You just don't have a lot of experience, but still you want to address that, because if you're missing something, then the kinds of guys you attract, and probably the reason you've been with this scuzzbag for as long as you have and might get involved with other scuzbags, is because you have some kind of inadequacy issues and you don't know how to trust your own instincts. So that's, it's not even really a ding, OP, but just because you are a listener, you gotta figure out what's behind that there. You don't need an actual event to transpire. Fuck this guy.
Right. And already, like, a lot of these things that he was doing in the past, hitting on women at bars, like hitting on women at bars is basically the exact same thing that he did in this situation. Exactly. You said that that's already been a problem with you guys. Wasn't that proof enough? Or buying content on OnlyFans behind your back? Like, I understand that it takes, you know, you have to get there on your own time to really leave somebody. I understand that. But kind of what you were saying.
And that wasn't it. Communicating with exes and the OnlyFans thing. And by the way, I'm not saying that that's not a legitimate rule. That's fine. If that's your rule, I understand it.
Yeah.
I think it comes back to the situation we just talked about too. And what Danny is saying is real closure in ending a relationship. It's very often not related to hard evidence. It's related to hard feelings. That's when you are at a point where there's no point in fixing it. That's when you leave, and you don't need to know for sure one way or another if their behavior is what you fear it could be at its worst. You know how it's making you feel. And if it's making you feel like that, you don't need evidence for feeling. You feel the way you feel for a reason. And if he's hitting you with crazy is a word I avoid at all costs in any relationship, because it's so infantilizing. It's so dismissive. It's basically saying you and all your feelings aren't just wrong. They're topsy-turvy, absurd. You're not even a person to me with these
horse
feelings.
clops.
Horse clops. And also, let's not to bring it back to horses, but let's talk about the horse in the room. More risque version of Hooters. That's just a strip club with wings, honey.
Yeah, what is that?
Where is
Honkers.
that?
Honkers.
More risque.
More risque.
version.
Okay, so Hooters, they don't show anything anymore.
Hooters
it's
is
just
Hooters is
cleavage.
basically a
Just
restaurant
cleavage.
with skimpy outfits.
Skinny, like
Yeah.
really, really short
shorts and
tight shirts.
Yeah, and they like write their name on like your table when they walk by.
There's that too.
That's
yeah.
it, and that's like for some reason really makes men feel like, wow, we're really hitting it off with her. Huh? She wrote down her whole name.
Oh God.
Because I don't understand. They write their name on.
They
the
write their
table?
name like on a piece of paper for the table,
It's
and
like the paper tablecloth.
it's supposed to simulate the feeling of getting their number, I think. But that's I think that's what it does. And
Well, because I've been to other restaurants that do that too, but it's not like a Hooters or something like that. But that's an interesting theory.
I don't know.
I want to go to Honkers, and then you get in there, and it's just ducks.
Yeah.
That kind of honk. There's like a table of disappointed bowlers. What the hell? I thought they meant like Hooters.
I don't know, fellas. This is kind of fun. They got the trays on the back. Like you leave happy. You're like, I came for moderate sexual gratification, but I left with a bunch of fun pictures of geese,
Yeah.
ducks.
But also, I just want to say I love this. Like, I love what she did. I think it's great. I really do. I'm like, hell yeah, it's great.
I'm fine. I'm fine with what she
into
did.
it.
I think the reasons around it. I don't know. I guess it depends too. If like this guy.
One
What?
of the comments that you collected was mine. It says donuts make me go nuts 21 NTA. I love this move. LOL. More power to you. That's me.
I like that.
Classic Shannon.
Is that? I didn't know that was you. Story said, although ESH, if you are at the point you don't trust someone, you should just leave and be done with them. If you feel the need to set up a scenario to catch your boyfriend cheating, then the relationship is already over. I think I'm coming up with a rule here. I think I need a better phrasing for it, but it's like if you're litigating, if you're auditing, if you're setting up a sting, what did you call this? Entrapment.
It's entrapment. This is entrapment.
These are all signs that things are far, far gone.
You need to utilize a technique that police used to use, and it was outlawed.
Right.
Like, come on.
AI.
Oh no.
AITA for setting my boyfriend up to cheat. Nonetheless, OP, I think you got some inner work that could really benefit you. But this was pretty funny and cheeky, and I don't think what you did was harmful. I just worry about how it portends on your own personal growth.
You made honkers night. They had a blast with this.
Yeah, they really
You
did.
could tell they were bored.
I like the idea of calling honkers and just give them $20 to do stuff.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Is this a real spot?
No, we made it up.
Oh, okay.
It feels like the right name for this kind of place.
I would go there so often if they took care of old Crookneck over there.
Crookneck runs the joint, actually. That's his retirement plan.
For those who don't know, Crookneck is a goose with a very, very,
Very
crooked
crooked
neck.
Echo Part's own cryptid
It's right
creature.
in the name.
It's right in the name. And actually, you know what? I was realizing because I was going to the park to feed him grapes and he would hiss at me. And I realized he doesn't need me, that old Crookneck. He's fine. He's closed off.
He's 80 years old.
He really is. He'll never
Can't
die.
teach him any new
He saw the
tricks.
Carter administration.
Yeah,
He's fine.
been through shit. I think we agree on this. AITA for setting my boyfriend up to cheat. We agree. NTA.
NTA.
And he is.
NTA. And I love ya.
Guys, please rate, review, and subscribe. Join us on Patreon, patreon.com/AITA pod. We're going to wrap things up on this.
AITA for celebrating a death. For my whole childhood and into adulthood, my mother's father was horrible towards us. He never treated us well, hated my father, and treated us like garbage. My dad, who is absolutely amazing, didn't deserve the treatment this man gave him. My dad called him out on it one day, and since then, I was done with him. My mom didn't want to ever write him off like we did, and even when she was dying, he wouldn't come see her. He lived 35 minutes away. When she did pass, I told my dad the only good thing out of my mom dying was never having to see that man again. Both of us never did, but my sister always kept a relationship with him. Her choice. Last year, my cousins who I don't talk to start DMing me on IG, telling me I need to forget what he did and go see him, as for the 6th time, they thought it was really the end. It wasn't. I told them I had no desire to see him. He'd been dead to me for years. Fast forward to today, Dad calls asking if my sister called. He tells me that he passed yesterday and decades of having anger just melted off. Dad even said I knew it'd make you happy. He was right, but AITA?
Oh, wow.
Death's a complicated horse clop, isn't it?
That
Yeah.
as Socrates said. I think like this came up too with what's it called, that old Titan, remember that old rickety thing they took down there to see the Titanic,
Oh,
and everybody
How
was
could we
like,
forget?
oh, don't make fun of dead people. I mean, I get it, dying is obviously, it's not ideal, personally, not something I'm looking to do anytime soon,
No.
but like I don't know,
Well,
it's
people immortalize the dead. They they make them saints. All of a sudden, just because they pass away.
Yeah,
They're a great person.
they were a complicated person gets said a lot.
Yeah, always.
If you've died and anyone at your funeral says they were complicated, you fucked up a couple of times big.
Yeah.
probably if you were complicated, you were bad. Honestly, I don't really think. I don't
C plus at best.
Yeah. Nobody's saying that at Mother Teresa's funeral. She is complicated, though. I mean, I know there's controversies.
Yeah, no, that might have been a bad example. There's literally some complicated
Who's obviously
stuff.
good? Who's obviously good? Is anybody? The Pope of its
Betty White.
Betty, yeah.
Betty White.
Yeah.
All right,
we
take
can
two.
give it to her.
No one at Betty White's funeral was like, she was complicated. That's the biggest laugh I've ever gotten from you, and it hurts so bad. But like, come on, this guy obviously sucked.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, literally, I can't blame you for. First of all, I can't blame you for feeling a certain way. Like, if you felt this way, you felt this way. It's not like you then went running to your cousins and were like, in your face, like, fuck him. You know? Like,
threw donuts in their lawn.
yeah, like
told ya.
literally, you just felt relief of not having him around anymore, not having to think about this man anymore. I mean,
It's not petty. It's not villainous. Like, the way that people treat others has consequences. And I think it's kind of childish to expect that this idea that death absolves. It doesn't. You aren't just magically relieved of wrongdoing, and it's silly to expect others to help you deal with your feelings about somebody's death, because I guarantee you those cousins they get it. They get it to a certain extent, even if they don't want to acknowledge it. But the way that this guy treated your mother, the way that he treated your father, there's a litany of reasons for you to be relieved that this is done. I don't think that there's anything wrong with how you feel about this.
no, and I'm sure it does feel weird because we've grown up with that saying of like, don't speak ill of the dead. And
Oh,
it's been,
yeah,
like,
that is out
drilled
there.
into us.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a religious thing. I don't know if that's like a Christian thing.
I think it's
or
just
what.
coping. I think that it's really, wouldn't put it on religion as much as I would put it on people. People have a really hard time dealing with the concept of they're just gone. It's a hard thing for people to wrap their mind around. So almost invoking somebody who's gone in any way other than, nostalgic wistfulness, it feels wrong to people, because you have to deal with complicated feelings that are never truly going to be resolved if you weren't really willing to look at them in the face while the person was alive. So I think I think that you were way ahead of the curve in the fact you were able to confront these issues while they were still around.
No, it sounds like they just cut him off.
I think that's some
confronting
toxic
an
people,
issue.
that's confronting
Yeah,
it.
that's the best way to go. Yeah, I'm with that. I think you're right, Shannon. I think that phrase is indicative of like some kind of cultural reverence toward it. I think you got to be careful with it. I don't think OP did anything. I think celebrating a death, obviously, that can be hurtful to the living, which is the
Right.
problem.
Yeah, don't throw a party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably onto something, Jake. That evoking that complexity in people if it's unresolved, especially if it was someone you loved, they don't want to be hearing about the bad shit that person did because it can't be addressed now. Nonetheless, I don't think OP did anything wrong, and I actually like that the dad was tuned in. He's like, I knew it'd make you happy. Like, all right, damn.
And and on the flip side of this, I do think that what your dad experienced, I think that's very human too, where being able to, I don't think there's anything wrong with not being able to let go of the feelings you have about somebody post-death, but I think it's very human to know that somebody's gone and be able to drop the baggage. I think that both are very human, real responses to death, and that's why it's a complicated horse clop.
As is said, AITA for celebrating a death. I think we agree. NTA and the dead dude is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And look, I don't know if there's a God. I don't know if there's a devil. One thing I do know for sure, your granddaddy's in hell.
All right, Garforkel, take us out.
Oh, I'm glad you brought me back into this one. Get my fucking glasses on, peon. There we go. All right. So I got a joke for you guys.
Okay.
All right.
Railroad crossing without any cars. Can you spell that without any R's?
Railroad crossing without any cars. Can you spell that without any R's? Is
Yeah.
that your question?
Wait, hold on. Railroad crossing without any cars. That THAT.
Fuck! God damn it!
What?
You said they wouldn't get it, Jake! Fuck!
You spell that without any R's. THAT.
Ugh!
Oh,
I got it.
he's
I'm
right.
out $1,000!
Jesus, dude.
Bye!